I've had a lot of questions today about an issue that has come up within the state of Colorado. Today I actually wrote a letter and I have sent it to ICE. The letter kind of outlines exactly what is happening with immigration issues within Colorado from all the different bills. Right now we're facing another bill that will be going out very soon, and I'm sure the governor is going to sign it, and that's 25276. Some of the issues that I've seen in the bill are very questionable to me as to why we would be doing such a thing. And here's what I mean by that. In the bill 276, it allows for, through this legislation, that we can be sued as deputies and officers and law enforcement officers and any state official that gives personal information that is identifying about someone that is undocumented to ICE. But here's the problem with that. What's occurring now is that the state of Colorado is trying to create an issue where sheriffs are having to make a decision between federal law and state law. And it puts us in a really bad position in the middle. And it seems to me this is happening more and more throughout Colorado. And unfortunately, it calls into question which laws we are to follow and which laws we shouldn't follow. And I think at a certain point in time, I think the public needs to understand what's happening. So I wrote this letter to discuss the issues that have happened with the older bills like 1100 and bills where they took away our rights to house ICE inmates, and the new bill. Because this new bill, if allowed to continue and the governor signs it, would then have a $50,000 fine for my deputies to give any information to ICE. The first time in history we're not able to work with one targeted law enforcement organization that deals with criminals. And unfortunately in the state of Colorado, no one is listening to the fact that we keep telling them that we're not dealing with just undocumented folks. We are dealing with criminals, cartels, organized crime. And there's only one way to deal with those folks, and that's through ICE. We've given the data more times than I can remember at this point. This letter was not for me to question the data. It's to really send this to ICE to let them show the data, because I think at some point, my hope is that they will use my letter, but it's a cry, an appeal to the U.S. government to deal with some of our immigration issues, because at this point, nobody's listening to us at a state level. The DEA and ATF and FBI all have pieces and parts to that type of enforcement. But the main enforcement body that deals with people coming over the borders illegally and bringing drugs into your neighborhoods and all those different aspects is really ICE. But now here's the other problem. Each of those organizations have their own silos that they work in for different information. But now the United States government has seen fit to make all agents, FBI, DEA, ATF, HSI, or Homeland Security, de facto ICE agents, which means the law now covers all of those agencies if we give them information that has something to do with immigration issues. Now, what they'll tell you in this law is that, well, we're not trying to stop enforcement if it is done for criminal issues. But who gets to decide whether it's a criminal issue or if it's a civil issue? Well, that's going to be dealt with by an attorney firm who's going to decide, like the ACLU. But really for law enforcement, what happens when they deem that this is actually a civil case instead of a criminal case? Because we don't get to deem that. It puts us all in a very big issue for dealing with criminal and civil litigation issues. So those civil litigation issues would then have us pay a $50,000 fine once the lawsuit is concluded to a fund that's been set up by Governor Polis and many of the Democratic Legislature to fund an organization such as the ACLU to file suit against us again. It makes no sense to me why we would force deputies to have to pay that when they make just over the $50,000 fee that they may have to pay. Does it make sense to you? So that's why I sent this letter today. I'm sick of people telling us how to enforce the laws of the state of Colorado and federal immigration issues for criminals. I think that needs to be done in law enforcement, not by state legislatures that have no idea what they're creating. And what they are creating is a sanctuary state where criminals can abound. They create more victims in the state of Colorado, and they create very much higher taxes by doing those crimes. And now you and I have to pay for those issues. They have to be prosecuted. They have to be housed within our prisons. Right now, Department of Corrections, Department of Probations, and Parole are not giving that information of who's here illegally that have committed crimes to ICE. So when they're released from those facilities, they go right back in your communities, no matter what the crime they've committed. That umbrella, that safety net that they have, that the legislature has given them, have been given to murderers, thieves, attempted murderers, rapists, child sex assault folks, and people who run sexual slavery. Is this the Colorado we want? Are these the people that we want to protect through a Colorado state legislature and a governor and a attorney general's office? I don't think it is. And here's the problem with this. All at the same time of intimidating law enforcement officers not to do their jobs. So, Colorado, that is why I sent this message out. I'm a sheriff that believes that we do have the rule of law. I also believe that we have dignity and respect for everyone. But at a certain point, we have to follow the law. And if the law says that we have to deal with criminal illegal aliens in this state, we should be. And unfortunately, I'm tired of watching you be victimized. So that is why I sent this letter today. A lot of people are asking us what you can do. Here's what you can do. You can reach out to the governor's office and request that he veto this bill. That is the only way this works, is if he vetoes this bill. So thank you, Teller County, for everything that you do. I appreciate you very much, and I'm glad to be here as your sheriff. Have a great day.